Molo Sanbonani, hello, how's it? Good morning to this, the Thursday edition of Vuka Nazo, your morning news analysis show here on the Big Daddy Liberty Show. My name is Sihle Ngobese, aka Big Daddy Liberty, and remember, I come to you every morning from 7 a.m. And you can find us on our website at www.bigdaddyliberty.com. But hey, if you like us starting your news day, how about you allow our friends over at the Daily Friend to help you cap off your news day with solid analysis every Monday to Thursday at 1:30 p.m. They come to you live, in fact, on the show. Catch them every Monday to Thursday at 1:30 p.m. With that being said, welcome to this morning's Vuka Nazo. Let's get straight into the news. No. Absolutely no. The behavior we saw at King Shaka Airport here in Durban, where a said to be disgruntled employee took one of the firefighting equipment and proceeded to just damage the buildings in the area with those high-powered hoses is absolutely unacceptable behavior. You cannot allow individuals to act like that, especially when those individuals work in a space like an airport where the lives of ordinary folks, people like you and me, families who fly, who make use of planes, landing, taking off, and indeed getting us to our destinations. Your life, my life, is in the hands of the various individuals who work at these airports. Therefore, those people who work there should be of the highest standards, the highest moral responsibility. I'm trying to find the right words here without saying what I really want to say in more vulgar language, insofar as just how disgusted I am in seeing what is said to have been a disgruntled employee basically take firefighting equipment and proceed to do this. Yep. That's exactly what you saw. Him or her, because there's very little information on this particular individual, acting a damn fool.
I pity the fool.
Using multi-million rand equipment to destroy multi-million rand buildings. Again, it's not so much they're being disgruntled that's the issue here, albeit we're being told that, oh yeah, that's what we need to focus on. It's an unhappy employee, yada, yada, yada. But it's the fact that this individual had no regard for the lives and the safety of the people, firstly his fellow employees, and of course the general public, engaging in a wanton display of destruction like that, and indeed public endangerment. That he is a disgruntled employee is irrelevant. Indeed, the response by the Airports Company of South Africa, AXA, who manage South African airports, was basically along these lines, and it too was completely unacceptable. Let me just read you their particular response. Now, in a media statement, AXA, that's the Airport Company South Africa, who run King Shaka International Airport here in Durban, said the following: King Shaka International Airport can confirm that an incident had occurred at the airport involving the airport's fire engine track. We can confirm there was no impact to operations. The incident is currently under investigation by the South African Police Service. That's the end of quote. Here's the thing, that is woefully inadequate information given the scale of an incident like that. For instance, who is this employee? Why were they disgruntled? Are there any other employees who have a similar disgruntled behavior? Why was it seemingly so easy for that employee to get access to AXA's equipment, or in this case a firefighting truck, and then proceed to roam around unchallenged, destroying its infrastructure and placing people's lives at risk? These are the questions that should be leveled at AXA, and it should be answering insofar as instilling trust in that organization. Right now, if I was going to that King Shaka airport, I'd be very, very nervous. Oh my goodness. Oh, Commies never learn. Oh, goodness me. The South African government is now proposing to effectively set up the ESKOM of water. Yes, that's right. You heard me. The ESKOM effectively of water. What am I talking about in this particular instance? Of course, the Department of Water and Sanitation, which is led, of course, by Usenzo Mkhunu, the minister of that particular department, basically coming out and saying, hey, how about we set up another state-owned entity, to manage water. What will it be called? It will be called, of course, the National Water Resources Infrastructure Agency, another tongue twister and long-ass acronym that these politicians and political elites seem to love. Let me read, of course, from this piece in City Press, which wrote this particular establishment of this agency up, saying the following: that government is in the final stages of establishing the National Water Resources Infrastructure Agency, or the NWRIA. The ownership of all dams and related infrastructure will be transferred from the Department of Water and Sanitation to this new agency, the NWRIA. Now, the main aim of establishing the agency is to raise private finance to fund water infrastructure development as government's purses run dry. End of quote. Some of you will be dribbled and distracted by this and will say, yay, finally, another entity, woohoo, that will run water in this country. You're dribbled. You're being dribbled. Stop that. Hashtag, don't be dribbled. You're being dribbled by people who, if you haven't learned the lesson of what it is to have politicians and the political elites owning and running industries, owning and running monopolies, if you will, as is the case here, where the monopoly over water provision will be in the hands of the state, which already is to an extent, but more so a state agency, in other words, an SOE, much like ESKOM, Transnet, and the other more than 200 SOEs in this country, which are broken, and incompetent to a staggering level. Well, if you now expect water to somehow be different under a water like ESKOM or agency, then really the fool here is you. And it is you with that who holds on to that belief that somehow politicians, the political elites in these state-owned enterprises will somehow save you, who will pay the heaviest cost as taps in this country continue to run dry. Don't take it from me. Ask people who are around this country what the effects of having state management of their water systems actually looks like, whether they are in PE or Port Elizabeth at the moment, or taps that are running dry in Gauteng as we speak. Anytime the state and politicians run something, then surely expect rough times, and this agency will be no different. Any talk, therefore, as a final thought, of them setting up this establishment because, oh, it'll bring in private funding. Private funding to do what? Private funding to do what? Because if you believe that 100% of that funding will go into establishing, building, or maintaining water infrastructure, then I have a bridge over London I can sell you. Guys, stop being so easily dribbled and instead adopt a mentality that says enough with the state, politicians, and political elites running things. And how about we introduce more private sector options? How about we firstly devolve the running and maintenance of this infrastructure to as local level as possible, and then ever increasingly bring in private players. That would be a much more fitting solution to help us end the absolute incompetence that we are subject to when the state and politicians run anything. All right, in the final story for this morning, and indeed a brief one, because it'll be a developing story, trust you me, this headline already has kicked up a hornet's nest on the broader issue, of course, of coalition politics at local government level. I'm talking, of course, about the court ruling, basically in favor of what was the former, as some people called her, executive mayor of Johannesburg, Dr. PHALATSE, who's now firmly back in the seat after the courts, as I said, ruled in her favor, declaring the meeting that had ousted her as executive mayor as being unlawful and unconstitutional. Talk about egg in the face for a one Colleen Makubele, the Speaker of the Johannesburg Council. Yes, that's right. Colleen, of course, you remember, is that cope a councillor who stabbed in the back her own coalition partners and cut a deal with the ANC and EFF, seemingly to become speaker and later to then oust at that now declared unlawful meeting of council. Mayor Mpho Phalatse. Now, Mpho Phalatse back with a bang and perhaps getting the last laugh. And waltzing back into the offices of the mayoral seats. The question now is for how long? Of course, as you can imagine, the EFF and the ANC, specifically the ANC mayor who then ascended to the seat, a one Dada Morero, very odd name there. Dada is duck, quack quack in Zulu, so I've always sort of found that a little funny. But in any event, the coalition politics in that part of the world playing out in a very topsy-turvy way. I'm going to quickly read from EWN, which wrote up that particular court judgment as follows. Now, the court has declared that the council speaker's decision to place a motion of no confidence against Phalatse was, as I said, unlawful, unconstitutional, and invalid. The Johannesburg High Court has found that the election of Dada Morero as Johannesburg mayor was unlawful, unconstitutional, and invalid. End of quote. Now, you can imagine Phalatse is super ecstatic, declaring this all sorts of victories and yada, yada, yada. But as I said, we need to watch out for what will happen now going forward. There's two things I want to have answered, so to speak, in this particular, now that this ruling has come out. Number one, what will the coalition partners do? The same coalition partners who, if we're to be honest, didn't back Mpho Phalatse when she went to court. In fact, a lot of them also called her all sorts of names and effectively argued that it was a waste of time, if you will, for her to have gone to court. Clearly, Mpho, believing in the merits of her case, fought this and has won. So what will the coalition partners do now? Will the DA come to the party with Action SA and other political parties, even the Patriotic Alliance, that had turned its back on this coalition, and actually get the coalition back into the city of Johannesburg? Or will the ANC, with Colleen Makubele, their COPE speaker, and of course the EFF, simply call another motion of no confidence and repeat the cycle? These are the questions JOBURGers are asking, and perhaps even other coalitions looking at this chaos are asking too. All right, that's it for this episode of Vuka Nazo, the Thursday edition of the show. Let me know what you think about some of these stories. How do you do that? Well, get in touch with us on our website. That's right, at www.bigdaddyliberty.com. There, of course, you can also pledge some support. Why don't you join the slowly growing number of South Africans who are contributing 100 Rand a month towards the show? Those funds help us hire the editors, the writers, the people who will be helping us create content, including more creative stuff as we build this thing, as we fly it. You'll find that information on our website and various payment methods in that regard. With that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow, bright and early, every weekday from 7 a.m. for Vuka Nazo.